That's hard. That's hard. Wow, wow, wow. Oh my goodness me. This is like, even this song is a marathon. Kia ora and welcome. My name is ZoeStibi and I am your vocal coach for today. In today's vocal analysis, we're going to be taking a look at Nicole Scherzinger with I Am What I Am. I love this song. No introduction is needed. She's incredible. Song's incredible. Let's see what she's up to with her vocal technique. Oh, before I get to Nicole, if you want to learn how to sing with more power, more control, stability, and you really want to just know what you should practice, when you should practice, and how you should practice it, then check out my online singing school, the Vocal Academy, because we are opening up new one-to-one singing lesson spaces with my hand-picked vocal coaches. We would love to see you. Book a Nicole, and we'll talk all about your vocal goals. Nicole!
I am. I am my own special creation. So come take a look. Give me the hook or the ovation.
This is going to be a good performance, and I'm so sorry it's going to be long. She's amazing. Okay, so we've got this we've got this lower larynx position that's creating that dark timbre. She's gone into this thinner vocal fold, and we're also hearing that the larynx has just gone up just a little bit. Let's go back up.
Special creation.
So you can really hear this different in the chat. Allowing the larynx to rise for the pitch. It has to rise for the pitch to some extent. And then allowing larynx to go back down again in order to create that lovely. The reason why we lower the larynx is not only to darken the timbre, but it also brings on that feeling of that sob within the sound, which makes us really feel like it's the deepest sorrow in that moment.
Special give me the hook or the ovation. It's my.
Can you imagine, like, on literally after playing 8 shows a week, and if she's not doing 8, maybe she's doing 6 if she's not doing the matinees, and then also coming like on your night off to do a performance like this after like being in a Broadway show. I mean, it's like while being in a Broadway show, this is crazy. Like, vocal, it's like a marathon every single night when you're playing this role. It's such a big thing. Anyway, the role that she's playing in Sunset Boulevard at the moment on Broadway. So we have this probably gone into a little bit of a breathy thin fold there. I don't really believe that falsetto has a huge role in this song, but obviously I would need to hear a couple of things because falsetto and that sort of breathy thin fold can sound quite similar, but I'm noticing there's that it doesn't have that sort of that hollowness that I would expect from a more falsetto sound, which is when the vocal folds actually go stiff and we have very little vocal fold contact, which is why we have like a hollow sound.
It's my world that I want to have a little pride in. My world, and it's not a place I have to
thin vocal folds, lovely tilt in there. There's so much going on. Honestly, I feel like this video will be like 45 minutes long if I was to really go through every little sound. So we've got lots of larynx changes going in there. You know, the height changes. You can really hear this dark to the brighter timbre going on. She going, ah! She opened up into more of that still chest voice. So up on the B4 there. I've got my keyboard here in front of me. We're up on the B4 there. Ah! Still chest voice. It's not loud enough to be belting. She's going to belt further on in the song. Let's go back on this. That's elevation. I suppose that is a little bit of a flip up into that falsetto. That's that plane change between that thicker vocal fold into the falsetto where it goes and the vocal folds flip open. I love it as like a stylistic choice.
It's my world that I want to have a little pride in. My world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. Life's not worth a damn to you can say. Hey, well, I am what I am.
Okay, so now we're getting into a slightly thicker sound here. And a lower larynx, thick vocal fold, and you notice she, boom, shoulders went back and down. I'll point it out exactly when that happened. So she also, you can see there are lots more work going on here in the upper part of the body. That's really what we need if we're going to hold on to that stability. As I say, like, her voice sounds a little bit tired, but honestly, like, she runs a marathon every night in the show that she's currently in.
A little pride in my world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. Life's not worth a damn to you can say. Hey, well,
There you go. Boom! She went into that. You can see that beautiful still there. I am. That's hard. This is a big sing as well. You know, we've got like another 3 minutes left, Zoe. Goodness me. So we are back here.
a place I have to hide in.
We've gone into that thinner vocal fold, and she's kind of what we would call covering the vowel or covering the sound with this kind of sound. We're also having that little bit, and we've got the lift in here in the cheeks. We've got that instead of in, and that it just signals a little bit more of a classical sound for us. But again, that's what we would really call covering the vowel. And to make that don't know why. Why is it actually called covering the vowel? It feels like you're covering the vowel, but honestly, we're covering the sound. Sort of like you've got a bit of a lid on everything going. Sounds like the sound is more inside your own face. It's not really, I mean, it's what we would call it. Not really like it's not like physically something happening apart from the fact that maybe the tongue's going a little bit further. No, I don't have to think about that actually.
I have to hide in.
And we could hear, and she released into the vibrato. So, I mean, when the voice is a little bit tight, actually releasing to the vibrato can actually help us to cover a little bit of that tightness, because without vibrato is way harder to hold on to than allowing that vibrato to come in, because vibrato is like a letting go rather than actually you're forcing it.
Life's not worth a damn to you can say. Hey, well, I am what I am. I am what I am. I don't need praise, maybe a little. I don't need pity. I beg my own drum. Some think it's noise, I think it's pretty, and so
That's hard. That's hard. Wow, wow, wow. When you've got such a weighty, dark sound like that. Now, we know that Nicole has had singing lessons throughout her career, and we do know that she still works with Steve Mackey on a regular basis because she really wants to be at the top of her vocal game, and like absolute hands down, she's a real inspiration because, you know, she just works so hard, even at the level that she's at. And, you know, but that is very... This is a dynamic sound for everybody with this much weight and this much volume behind the sound, because the larynx will want to come up into, you know, she doesn't speak like this. So we're actually kind of like almost, we're not forcing larynx somewhere, we're taking it out of its sort of like comfortable zone. And with this much kind of pressure behind it, you can imagine it sort of like sprinting the whole time rather than sort of like just jogging gently. It's much harder on the voice, and it takes a lot of work to get up to that kind of stamina level, which obviously she's been doing with Sunset Boulevard as well.
Some think it's nice, I think it's pretty, and so what if our love is further and is spangled? Why not try to see things from a different angle?
You can hear that. Why not? And she's introducing a bit of that twang there. Let's go back into this because it's a little bit better in here.
Hey, well, I am what I am what I am. I don't need praise, maybe a little. I don't need pity. I beg my own room. Some think it's nice, I think it's pretty.
So we've got I don't need no praise, maybe a little. So we got that coming in there. Again, not making fun of Nicole. This is what it sounds like in my voice. A little bit of that twang, which is a narrowing of the area above the larynx, which is where the sound is created here in the throat. And that is what kind of, it can help us to bring volume into the sound. But what do we notice? The sound also got quite a lot brighter. Now, Nicole's going for a darker sound. So we'd want to try and reduce as much of that twang as possible, which is difficult with some American accents. Now, I think she's a fabulous singer and actor, and I do follow her in interviews that Nicole has done. She doesn't have a particularly strong amount of twang in her natural accent when she's speaking. So really thinking about those sorts of things. If you're like, oh, I have loads of twang, but I want a darker sound, you're going to have to work harder than if you have no twang and you want a darker sound. But if you want that kind of feedback, it really has to be on a one-to-one basis, because it's not about just looking for random YouTube videos and going like, how to darken my sound. It's really based on where you are, what your natural accent is like, what's your language, what's your tongue position. There's a whole bunch of things that go into making a darker sound. And that's why I started my online singing school, the Vocal Academy, and handpicked some of my most fabulous colleagues for you to have one-to-one singing lessons with masterclasses with myself, as well as group practice sessions, and those one-to-one singing lessons that you really need to get personalized feedback. So check it out in the description below if you'd like to apply, because we'd love to see you there to help you with your singing.
Some think it's nice, I think it's pretty, and so what if our love is further and is spangled? Why not try to see things from a different angle? Your life is a sham till you can shout out loud, I am what I
So we're noticing now that she's gone to, I am what? I mean, this is like so not the type of stuff that I sing, okay? So we've got this, I am. We've got these quite big, wide vowels. That's going to help us to really darken that sound even more, because if we go, I'm what I am, which would be more in my accent in the way that I would sing this song, with brighter, higher vowels, a little bit more twang helping me up there. And so that those darkening of the vowels is also adding to this darker sound that she's using. We're noticing as well that the mouth is opening, go figure, right? She's got these wider vowels, slightly bigger mouth shape, but that's something that you really have to work on. This is like a stamina thing, because a higher, brighter vowel would be easier in this position.
Sometimes the ice, sometimes the juices. It's one life, and there's no return and no deposit. One life, so it's time to open up your closet. Life's
Oh my goodness me. This is like, even this song is a marathon. Wow, 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 wow. I'm getting so tired listening to this because it's just so beautiful and just so dark. You can just see, look at this body, look at the energy, look at what she's putting into it. Now, we're seeing this energy going into it, lovely high breaths. It's going to help us as well to build up the pressure inside the lungs, which helps us to build up the subglottic pressure, which means that we don't, it helps us to keep our vocal folds thick rather than allowing them to, kind of thin. They're not going to thin out at this stage anyway. It's just we want the breath to not necessarily like yank the larynx down and cause us to go into a different type of voice quality. So it could also be a little bit about the dress, that she has more movement here up at the top rather than here in the stomach region. We just wouldn't want to breathe really, really low anyway, though, in this type of singing. Wow. So we go, lovely vowel there. We're also seeing a little bit of a crinkle in the nose. That it doesn't necessarily help us technically, but it might help us in terms of when we're thinking that way, of getting that sound into that place with a little bit of tightening rather than going, yay, and allowing the larynx to rise so much, because she is still wanting to have that darker sound. So don't think about things of like, oh, you have to scrunch up your nose or lift up your eyebrows or things. It's really about making these things individual for you and what really works for you, because not all of the things that you see online about like, okay, you got to lift your cheeks. Technically, the lifting of the cheeks doesn't actually lift the soft palate. It's just that sometimes when you do say to someone, hey, smile, it can help assist, because of the kind of chain reaction that occurs within that individual person, that they end up lifting the soft palate, which would help us to get that stability inside the mouth that we're looking for. Wow, wow, wow. She is just so amazing, right? And you really, you do feel like this is just like speaking from her soul, because we know that, she talks about online that, or in interviews that just a few years ago, people weren't taking her seriously for musical theater roles until she really put herself out there and said, this is what I always wanted to do. Actually, it wasn't the Pussycat Dolls pop stuff. It was really, I felt like I was always due to be in musical theater. So I really, really love that. And that she is, I am what I am, just kind of rings true in that moment. We heard this huge, Okay, we're on the B flat 4 there. That was typically like a really, really high note for belt. Now she is really belting through most of the end of that song. We're hearing a really loud sound. There's thicker than thick vocal folds. We've got kind of quite a similar vocal color going through the whole sound. And it's really like, we would call that a bit of a yell belt. And then she sweetens the sound right at the end to go, with a bit of larynx tilt there in order to allow the vibrato to come in there. That's what we really need to add that extra boost at the end rather than getting louder, because we can't get louder. Belt is the loudest sound that we can create. Personally, I know that is, look, Shirley Bassey made this song really, really famous, and she's a very famous big belter. I know that it's required to sing it like that in the theater. I would have probably liked to have seen a little bit more dynamic kind of change going on within the song, but that's not really what you sing I Am What I Am for. It is really just like a, here I am, fuck you all, I am what I am, and I'm going to do what I want to do. And I do really recommend that you listen to La Cage aux Folles if you are interested in musical theater, because I think it's such a wonderful musical. Huge belt note at the end there, and she went backwards. That's a really great way for us to engage through the back muscles. Probably also a bit of an emotional movement as well when we're holding to a really, really long note. When we're in belt, honestly, you can hold on forever and ever and ever. Belt uses a very low breath flow rate because the vocal folds are so thick. It's not really like super woo. She held onto that note for ages. What I think is really like woo is that she held onto that vocal quality for the whole song. We didn't really hear any strain coming in there. We saw a lot of work going on within the throat, but we didn't hear that coming into the voice, which is really what we're training for in the end. Belt. Yeah, these like really, really long held notes. Honestly, it's really down to the vocal fold closure. It's not really a lot to do with the actual training of the lungs. Although when you are singing musical theater, it's like a knock-on effect that you just end up being able to sing for longer and longer. And I honestly, I get a lot of comments in my videos like, wow, why don't you see this as being the most amazing thing? You have to remember, I work with like incredible professional singers. I don't hear this sort of standard day in and day out, but I do work with singers of this standard. And I do know that there are a lot of people out there who can sing exceptionally well, who don't make it to the stage. Or make it into your world that you know who they are. So I'm not poo-pooing her. I'm just saying that this sort of thing is expected of a professional musical theater performer, which the standard is just really fucking high. So if you are looking to improve your musical theater technique inside my online singing school, the Vocal Academy, I'm a musical theater performer myself. And I also have other musical theater singing teachers who specialize in teaching people on the West End and on Broadway for this type of work in their professional lives. So I want you to apply using the link below if you'd like to work with one of my fantastic hand-picked coaches. They all have many, many, many years working professionally as singers themselves, as well as training other professionals in the industry as well. So come join us down in the description below. Wow, check out some more Nicole up here. She's a fantastic singer, and I love the way that her voice is developing as she's spending more time in Sunset Boulevard and really working on this musical theater style. I'd love to see what she's up to next. Let me know down in the comments what should I I need to work on my articulation, Zoe. Let me know down in the comments what I should take a look at next, because I love a bit of musical theater. And I'll see you right next time. Just remember, anyone can learn to sing. You've got to learn how to use this wonderful instrument, the voice, and I'm here to help you do it. Have an awesome rest of the day. Happy singing. Ka kite anō.